Netflix were to acquire Warner. Now, Cameron is someone that has had, well, he's had issues with Netflix for a long time, let's put it that way.
Yes.
And my understanding is that it's very much so because of streaming, because he prefers the theatrical experience, and he feels that Netflix undermines that. Now, before we let anyone else weigh in, Chris, I know that you have some feelings on this one, and you've also have some coverage over at Bleeding Fool about this very story here. Feel free to bring that story up in the private chat yet again, because those that came in afterwards won't be able to see it if necessary. But let's begin with your take on everything here, including Cameron's latest words and preferences.
Well, as you alluded, Cameron's had a problem with Netflix for a while. He was blasting them last year about this back in December about their Oscars push. It's almost like he's just got this. He really does not like Netflix. He really does not like Netflix, and he blames them for why cinema is people aren't going to cinema anymore. He's talked about, when I referenced his, there was an interview with him from World of Real not too long ago where he was just saying he thought back then that Paramount was the best choice in this deal back when it was first announced. He said, was talking about Sarandos saying that theatrical film is dead, and he just wants it to be. He's pulling for a Paramount win, but anyone but Netflix really is kind of where Cameron stands. Anyone but Netflix. He thinks that he said because Sarandos was promising theaters, Cameron said that was sucker bait. Said they'll put it in there for in theaters for 10 days just for Oscar consideration, which he thinks is quote unquote rotten to the core. He thinks movies should be made for theatrical, and the Academy Awards mean nothing if they don't mean theatrical. So he's had it out for Netflix for a while, just has not cared for them at all. And he's, anytime anyone asks him about it, he's saying that he's rooting for Paramount. So he doesn't like the idea of them pushing theaters aside. Now, I don't know if Cameron is really, a true believer in that regard, or if he's just trying to make himself look like a hero for cinemas, but he's not shy about going on the record about his disdain for Netflix. So this is not a new thing.
Indeed. Now, Script, you obviously have issues with Cameron's issues with Netflix. So let's hear your take. Why is Cameron wrong here?
Because he's backing literally an option that will shrink his own industry and the diversity of content. I mean, less big studios is bad for business. It's the two things that we don't want to happen. I don't want Netflix to take Warner Brothers. I don't want Paramount to take Warner Brothers. I want Warner Brothers to be where they are because they're in the position to lead the way of the new direction of Hollywood back into a place where the 90-10 rule is a little bit more prominent, where we actually can recognize those 10% of amazing films among the rest. Because when you have one studio putting out really great movies, it inspires other studios to copy that strategy, and it allows independents to do the same thing. It also allows to broaden the distribution network. It doesn't work. But I pose this question. How much work has Netflix really put into trying to destroy theaters? Versus how much has theaters' incompetence in the last 25 years have been more detrimental to themselves than anything else?
That's the big thing. You're right.
It is a big thing. There's just two different things you're hitting on. Huge things you're hitting on, Script.
Oh, but yeah, I know, it's a very complicated issue because, again, it's really hard to compete against convenience, and Netflix is the most convenient way of getting your entertainment.
Right.
And they haven't done lobbying of like, screw the theaters. They just said, find it on Netflix. And what have the theaters done? Well, they've renovated themselves to try to compete with Netflix and home theater systems. And doing so, they've raised the prices, which allows a little bit of extra revenue to come to theaters. But that doesn't work so well because we're dealing with service and product. So studios make the product, theaters are now the delivery service to that. And every time they raise their prices, they are pricing out people that would go to the movies. The only way I can see a quick fix is if you make movie tickets cheaper than a Netflix subscription. That's the only way you're going to get people to go there, because be like, oh, I could stream it on Netflix and a small screen, or I could pay $5 and go see it on a big screen and then not be, not lose, a week's pay just to go for me and my family, just to go see a movie. It's no longer affordable. It's been priced out over the last 25 years.
I just want to say real quick,
like Tarantino said.
Yeah, because you're not wrong. Because on the whole, like you can point to Netflix and say, did they actively play a role in killing video stores? Yes.
Yeah.
They flat out went, and that was their whole goal from the start. Now, at the end of the day, when it came to theatrical release, though, you're 100% right. They didn't do anything. They just sat back and let the theaters hurt themselves. You're not wrong. Now, could they have helped theaters? Potentially. Now, that part is true. But I agree with everything you just said, because that is a good point. At the end of the day, it's not like Netflix is going out there and saying, don't go to theaters, just stay home and watch Netflix instead. Now they put some stuff out to compete with stuff that was coming out in theaters.
But that's a very different avenue of marketing. Yeah. And then on top of that, they're also expressed interest in buying AMC.
Yeah.
See, that's the other thing that go ahead, Paul.
My short answer to your last part script is I agree with you. Netflix has not hurt theaters. It's actually in an odd way recently helped trying to keep them alive.
Right.
But the bigger, more complex thing is that how are people getting their entertainment, their content, for lack of better words?
Mm-hmm.
It's done. It's done, and it's got nothing to do with Netflix. Nothing.
Exactly.
They did not invent the smartphone.
No, Netflix is the equivalent of like television right now, right? Like when it first came out, and theaters were freaking out then too. They had to come up and improvise and innovate and get people to come back into theaters. That's why widescreen came into place. It's where they were trying 3D, surround sound, Cinerama, all these different things to try and get people out of their houses and back into theaters. And I've said it before, like they're acting like it's a big deal, but it's not nearly as bad as it was back when television was first invented, and back in the 60s when they were just making garbage that nobody wanted to go see, period. Right? Like that was the whole thing, is they had gotten sick and tired of musicals and westerns, and they weren't going to go see them anymore. And so they had to invent the new movie. And that's where, Easy Rider, Exorcist, Godfather, Rosemary's Baby, all these movies came out of this idea that we need to get the audiences back into theaters, and they haven't done that. That is the truth. The script is 100% right. Name the last fucking movie that got people to get their butts out of the house and go to the theater and see it that wasn't a fucking sequel. Right? Like that is
Minecraft, I think maybe.
Minecraft might be it. Maybe Wicked. But even then, you got to still kind of...
Yeah, it's like once a year. Yeah.
And even then, you couldn't compare those on a level to something like Jaws or Star Wars. But right? They're just not the same.
And even Wicked is part of a long...
Exactly. That was my point. Yeah, it's part of like Wizard of Oz and all that kind of
stuff.
That was
my immediate answer was Top Gun Maverick, because the behavior was everyone was stuck at home and let's go. There's and
you could almost count that just because it was a sequel from so long ago, and you didn't have to have necessarily seen the first one to see it, right? Like you could almost give that like a little asterisk.
But we wanted to break. We wanted to.
It goes along with the whole point. Yeah, it was something we hadn't seen in 35 fucking years, right? Like a movie that just felt like the old 80s type of movies where we went in and it's like, all right, we're gonna go see Tom Cruise kick some ass. Right, like that's what we wanted to see. Like that's what people like.
Okay, so however, the issue is that the tablet users didn't go to see that movie. It was boomers.
Yep.
Okay?
You're not wrong.
So there's several things. As a business person, if you're starting a new business, what is the key thing? And I won't embarrass you. I'll give you the answer. What is going to be the key to the success of your new business? What is it that you need to aim for that allows you to be successful? And that is, whatever category you're in, you need to have reduced friction for the customer. And so getting out of your ass, going to a theater compared to just turning on your TV, which one is the more friction free? it's watching it on TV. This is part of the challenge. Amazon, you just wait for the delivery guy to deliver your box, as opposed to getting off your ass and going to the mall and dealing with all the assholes there. New businesses succeed because they have found a way to reduce friction in a category. Now, notwithstanding the fact that you've got human, you've got things that humans like to do. Everyone talks about, we like to gather in groups and watch things together. I think there's a certain that is true to a degree. I mean, you don't want to be sitting at home all the time. You're going to get bored, and then you still have Friday and Saturday night date nights. That I think is still a thing, but they have to be careful that they don't price themselves out from being able to deliver that kind of. So then it's a price to performance to friction formula that I don't think they've figured out. And as we've discussed, having better product in the theater that brings us in. So, for instance, Good Luck, Don't Die, Have Fun was one of the first movies that I really, really wanted to see without it being homework, feeling like homework. And then I had the bonus of the Canadian film, the Nirvana Gang. So, I mean, I think it really is about good programming. Now, the plus side to Netflix, which potentially can save the theaters, is that the studios have been struggling with cash flow for decades. Apple, Netflix have all got all the money in the world. Amazon, to be able to make movies, and if they choose, put them in the theater, for crying out loud. Like, what's the big deal? It's all digitally delivered. They're not sending out a film they're not bicycling film from one theater to another and having to insure it. I think in that sense, Apple, Amazon, and Netflix should get together and say, yeah, we're going to save the theaters. I don't understand the attitude of wanting to kill the theaters.
They don't want to kill the theaters. They just don't want to share the money of the product they're making and putting on their own distribution network. I mean, that's basically
but they don't make money per se on their own.
That's where I think
they give their subscribers a reason to not go away.
See,
so I don't know
that's
what that formula is.
But I this is where I see the potential in what Serranos is up to here with Warner Brothers, because he's been putting it out there even more so, like he's like basically hammering his fist, going, no, Warner Brothers Films. Now notice he's saying this specifically, Warner Brothers Films, right? He's not saying all of my movies, not Netflix and Warner Brothers or anything like that. He's saying specifically Warner Brothers Films will still go to theaters for 45 days, and then they will have a premium release on PVOD. And then they will go to HBO Max, right? Just like he said, quote unquote, Superman, Sinners, F1, all that other stuff that he mentioned, blah, 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 blah. F1's being the exception because it went to Apple or whatever being. But the point is he wants that premium model. He wants in on that middle cake. Because I've been telling you guys, that's where the money is anymore, because they've killed everything else. There's only one place anymore where they can actually make up anything they lose at the box office. And this is what I said about Superman for a while, is like, yeah, it didn't exactly make money at the box office, but that $100 million that everybody's saying that it made, that everybody's like, oh, it did not. It's like, yes, it did. Because do you realize how much money they made on PVOD? Like, that's why they've been pushing these movies onto video on demand, because they get right there, a slap down. You're slapping down $30 fucking right there for that movie. Boom. And that price is going to keep going up and up and up and up and up over the years. Like I've been saying for a while, before long, you're going to be paying $100 right away when these movies come out. And you're going to have to wait otherwise 3 months until they hit either Netflix or HBO. And that's what he wants in on. But what makes those movies worth something? Putting them in the theater first. So it all goes back around to what I've been saying for years about the video stores and about all the stuff that they used to pull back then, is it doesn't matter as long as it was in theaters, because they can charge more for it. That's the difference. So he wants these premium features that will have the Warner Brothers title on, or the logo in front of them. Those will be all the movies that will be under Warner Brothers. It'll stay Warner Brothers. I think that's his plan, because he wants into the theatrical and PVOD game. Netflix is Netflix. And you're 100% right, Paul, because Netflix doesn't make any real money off of anything unless they pull in new subscribers for shit. That is the only time they're technically making any money on off of anything. And that's why no show lasts more than 3 seasons usually on Netflix, unless people fucking demand it, like Stranger Things. And notice how long it took them to get that shit together. Because that's why it takes them so long to do anything, or they cancel shows, because once they're not bringing in new subscribers, they're not fucking worth it to them anymore. They're pointless. Wednesday, the same fucking thing's going to happen to it. Mark my goddamn words. Once people start falling off and it's not bringing in new subscribers anymore, then it's going to be, it's over for the show. That's all they give a shit about. It's the same thing with their movies. Happy Gilmore could have made a shit ton of fucking money in the theaters, but I'm sitting here going, did they bring in any new subscribers off of Happy Gilmore though? That's the question. See, and that's where Netflix is losing out here. And that's where this thing has hit the wall. And that's where all the studios have been saying for the last few years that this is not the thing that they thought they were buying into. Going right back to what Andre said to begin with, is Netflix is not a competition. It's the new VHS. You got to fucking go to the video store there to get it. It's you can't think of Netflix like it's an entity so much as it's a distribution system. And that's kind of what Ted Sarandos has been fucking saying when he was saying the stupid YouTube thing. If he would have said it correctly, he was making the argument that I've been saying for a while, and then Andre agreed with me and made the point, was that Netflix is more like AT&T at the end of the day. They are not a fucking movie studio. So this is where this is going to come to a head at the end of the day. That's the problem.
I want to add to that. And Tom is absolutely correct. But it's not just Netflix. It's all these studios. That's why I agree with the spirit of what Script is saying, but I think that boat has already sailed, bro. It's going to be 1 or 2 studios left.
Yeah, I know, and it's going to be tragic.
And it is a content-driven game. That's why these homeboys are fighting all over this, because this is more content, just like what Tom is saying. It doesn't even the shit doesn't even have to be good. People are still going to watch it. Yep. Maybe whether it's in the background, however their watching habits are, they're eating, they're having dinner, I don't know what. But it is now a different ball game. Now that it's, what is it, YouTube and Netflix neck and neck, number 1 and 2 as far as where people are getting their entertainment, their streaming content. That's where everything is going to. It's gone to. So yeah.
Well, I'm watching a movie on the big screen while we're talking, and I'm watching streaming video on here right this moment. So I'm triple screening.
And you're live on a podcast.
He's watching Barbenheimer right now. He's got Barbie on the big screen.
I got it.
He's actually at a movie theater. You're at a movie theater right now.
So he's creating content while consuming content. It's like snapping while you're eating.
This is the future, actually. He's not wrong. No, we're kind of half-assed joking, but
no, we're not joking.
We're not, because like I used to know, and look, we've seen this happen before. Look at the music industry. Look at the video game industry. What's going to happen? I used to joke about my kid and his friends. They would sit there and watch other people play video games. It's like, you could just pick up the controller and play that yourself right now. It'd be a little bit more interactive and entertaining if you ask me. But no, a lot of these kids would just watch other people play video games. It's only a matter of time before people are watching other people watch TV shows and movies.
Well, they're already doing that. There's a whole.
They technically already are, but I mean,
yeah, reaction videos. It's already here.
It is, but I mean, that's where it's like that's more of the norm than actually watching the movie yourself.
It's all about trends, man. It's all about trends. But what doesn't change is people wanting to see shit. That's it. And we got to this new generation, the ones younger than us, they're already conditioned. They don't go to movie theaters like us.
That's right. I mean, it's there's no incentive for them to. Like, number
unless
one,
it's
they
a
don't have much
Minecraft,
money.
yeah.
And number one, they don't have much money, so if whatever money they do have, they're going to save it for the one thing that they want to see. And actually, and then the generation above them are technically doing the same thing. I mean, I'm working on a project right now, and we've been negotiating with a couple of theaters in New York City, and we find out that majority of the people that go to like the stuff on Broadway are rush tickets because they're cheap. You go there 1 hour before the showtime, you get like discounted tickets, and that's how they operate. It's like, it's cheaper. They've told us their audiences that come in to see their live performances go to them because a live performance for $20 a ticket is better than a recorded performance for $20 a ticket at a movie theater. How do you solve that problem? You got to go back to the theaters and say you got to rework your model for your pricing model, your economic model, how you're able to sustain it. Because again, like Hollywood, since it's existed, has always produced 90% garbage, 10% good stuff. hasn't
Pretty much.
changed. It only feels smaller just because we have so much more content and so much more means of accessing it. But at the end of the day, that rule is not going to change. And the only way you're going to be able to get people to know about things and see things is if you have better marketing teams and you have more affordable things for people, for your average Joe to go and see. And
I think
he's not going in that direction.
What makes theaters as far as theater and the musical survive is their subscribers, right? They're members.
Mhm.
And they are sold a yearly season of works, and those theaters, regional, whatever they are, they know that you got to play the hits
to justify the purchase of the annual membership.
But you're also talking about two completely different audiences.
No,
I'm not saying there isn't crossover.
I'm not. No, hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay.
Hold on, bro. Hold on.
All right.
The biggest hits that they have, they'll have a movie star come in and play Hamlet, Denzel, a Katie Holmes, like someone of big name. That sustains them for the whole season, right? It's still an antiquated construct, right? Going to the theater. That's going to be movies. That's what I was saying, Tom. That's what I was saying. That's the only. It's going to be vintage, like just like going to see a play, because what's going to get me to go, Tom? Right. That's all. That's the.
As I said years ago, theaters are going to become boutique, just like stage live performance theaters. They're going to be shrunk down. People are going to go there for only special occasions, special events. You'll have to start bringing actors in there to open shows in certain cities with the opportunity for the people in the audience to get autographs with them at the end of the show or do a Q&A, because you have to up the value based on the showing.
And speaking of James Cameron, it's so funny because they just announced the Titanic musical going to Broadway, right?
Yep.
All Celine Dion songs. This is huge. And its star is Melissa Barrera. And so it's like this, you're seeing more and more of this. And it just kind of feeds, but it's all the same content, right, Tom? But it feeds, right? And then you get a star and their fan base. You get the Titanic fan base. There you go. It's just like Wicked.
Yep.
Yeah.
What happened to Tom?
He's just muted at the moment.
Tom,
maybe Sadie's barking because of the construction outside his place.
Well, it's much more likely in the case of Tom right now that it's the snowstorm in Wisconsin that's affecting his connection. Yeah. So it's been unstable all day.
Shit.
But no, he's here, and I think that he's probably largely in agreement with those points.
When it's cold, your electrons freeze.
I guess, yeah. Anyway, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Unless anyone else have any strong thoughts on this before we move on here.
Brave New World. That's all I have to say.
I'm glad you didn't say Strange New World, but yeah.
No, sorry, I stepped away. No, actually, now that I understand your point, you're not wrong. We were basically probably going to make the same-ish point, but you just used a different avenue to do it.
And the whole James Cameron thing with the Titanic. Did you hear me say that?
Yeah, I can't wait to hear that. That's going to be the biggest disaster since Spider-Man Turn Off the Lights or whatever the fuck it was called.
Well, it's Celine Dion music.
Or Turn Off the Dark, yeah.
But it's Celine Dion's music, so that
I'm so sick. I was sick of hearing that back in 1997.
Yeah, but Tom, you're not the audience.
You're not the audience.
You're not the audience for that.
Trust me, that is one of the most hated. Look, I do probably somewhat tri-weekly radio show where the whole gimmick, the entire gimmick is I play only music from soundtracks, right? That is the one song that if I play it, everybody gets pissed but Six.
Yeah, but they're not the audience either.
I get you. But at the same time, don't just wait. I mark my words. This is going to be fucking hilarious. This is going to be just like Spider-Man.
I'm with
you.
I
don't see how.
I think it's going to be a massive hit. It's going to be a massive.
I agree.
I hope
I think it's going to be a hit.
I think it's going to be
in the case
people
of Spider-Man,
people are still Wicked is still selling out on Broadway tours. Yeah, and there's still people are dressing up.
Yeah, but this is not Wicked.
it has its audience. I think do not underestimate the musical audience. It's a very different audience than the
It's a
ones
very
that
big
frequents our
trans and
channels.
gay audience. You're not
No,
wrong
no,
there. That's
Tom,
about
that's-
it. Yeah.
You-
Yes, kind of. But anyway, yeah, it's a very different audience, and the tastes of our audience will not translate. When they tried to cater to someone like in our audience, in
People
Spider-Man
forget I
Dawn of
worked
the
in
Dark,
radio too, but yeah.
it failed. But again, different audience. Do
But
not
also, too,
underestimate that particular audience. I
We're
think
talk-
that has
yeah.
all the makings of being it.
and it's content is king.
Yeah.
So what's gonna happen? It'll probably be in a couple of years. You're gonna hear Titanic the musical coming to film.
Yeah,
Yep.
I wouldn't be
I
surprised.
mean,
Oh,
there's
Lord.
already talks about putting Lion King the musical to film. Like,
Back to the Future is another one too. It's like, no, just stop. Just stop.
I think what you're missing, Tom, is what I call the Longines Symphonette audience. The people who would go out to see Andreas Wollenweider for a concert. There's a subculture out there, Zamfir and the pan flute. None of us are going to go see Wollenweider.
You know what it
or-
is, Paul? I don't like sucking dick. That's what it is.
Yeah, but there's
Well,
a lot of
it's-
people out there, like I said,
but
the
again-
Longines Symphonette audience that love these weird European German orchestra
wait.
leaders.
We gotta stop.
way
We
they hit.
gotta address what he just said, bro. He doesn't like it,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
Would you try it? You
If
need
I
to
have
stop,
to,
bro.
god damn it.
You need to
20
stop.
bucks
brother.
is 20 bucks, man. I'm broke right now.
But either way, yeah, no, like Tom, you're not the audience. Like, and
If you get
you're
paid, you're not
ever
gay.
going to. You're not ever going to.
Don't look in the
to,
eyes.
to be able
Not
to
gay.
get
Yeah, you
into
never
the
look in
mindset
eyes.
of that audience. I think
Andre,
Titanic the musical has all the makings of being a massive hit with the musical audience.
They
and
need
Andre,
those
have you
things.
heard of Wollenweider?
Vollenweider, yeah, of course.
Okay.
All this foreign talk. You need those types of musicals
Oh,
to
she's
keep
hot, Bullenbiter.
to keep Broadway going. And then nowadays, it's just going to be sucked up by Hollywood in some form.
Yeah, it's
You
a
know,
big
script.
impact.
Get on that, man. Do the Titanic movie. Come on.
Something I don't even know why you guys were talking about Forrest Gump in the chat.
Why
This
they're
is-
really going off of Forrest Gump.
They were talking, I don't know why, but they were talking about Jenny and Forrest Gump. And I got to straighten everybody out here because I've had to do this since high school. Jenny did not die of AIDS. I hate to break your heart. She didn't. She died of hepatitis. It's in the sequel book. It's in the book. It's there. She didn't die of AIDS. She didn't get
Yeah.
AIDS.
Yeah.
So it's from needles. Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Well, either way, she died, and it was entirely.
I know
her
it's
own
really
fault.
stupid, but it's one of those things that's always bothered me
And
because
she's one
everybody's
of
like,
the worst villains in film history.
she is too. And I got in an argument with a fucking one of my high school teachers over it too, because he was talking about it after the movie came out. I'm like, no, she died of hepatitis. It's in the book. He's
Dude,
like,
are you
no,
like
it
the-
means-"
were you like the Dawson's Creek of your?
I was the actually fucking kid. Yes,
That's
yes,
you.
I was that kid.
But
Yes,
he's
every time.
nice.
Actually,
Were you nice when you were a kid?
fuck no,
Exactly.
no, yeah. Well, it depends on who you were.
Exactly.
I had no filter. Obviously, I have no filter. I never have. I am exactly what you get. Like, that's it. And Andre will tell you this is pretty much me, like in a nutshell.
Or
Yeah,
an
Oh,
on-off.
no. Jenny. Oh no.
But let's move
Don't
on
give
here
me
because
the
we have
AIDS,
a few
Jenny.
super chats. Yeah.
Flying Blind has been a member for 16 months. Speaking of Andre, are we ever going to get around to that? I know you've been
yes,
dealing with some
membership
personal
stream.
life stuff, but
I've
yes.
been dealing with stuff. Yeah, we owe you so many streams now. It's all coming. It's all good. As soon as we launch something, we'll be talking about very.
Yeah,
much.
there's something going on here.
Something going on. Just need a freaking trailer. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, combined, you guys have excuses for the past year for not doing a membership stream. Come on.
Well, it hasn't been a year, but
I know.
yeah.
I'm just having fun here.
You're good
Yeah,
for you.
I'm
Give it to them.
I'm not going to say anything. Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle says, "Good day, all. We hope so. We hope so. I got to plow some snow later." Packing Proton says, "Nice to see Mr. Clean found a new job at Midnight's Edge in the morning." I think he's talking about you, Chris. And Chris, stepped
That's actually
away.
not Mr. Clean. That's Dr. Steele. I don't know if you guys
Dr.
remember
Steele.
Dr. Steele. He was part of Big Jim's PACK, Big Jim toys back in the 70s.
Ah,
He had a
yeah.
metal hand, a big dragon tattoo on his chest, and karate action.
Nah, you just look
Kung
like
Fu
fucking
grip.
Mr. Clean, bro.
Okay,
Yeah,
I went as
get
That
another
big ass
earring.
pelon.
If
Mira-
you got
mira
one
la
more
pelon.
earring and took off the glasses, yeah.
My
get a white
wife
shirt.
was Holly Golightly, and I was Mr. Clean for Halloween 2008.
Easily can see that.
There you go. Nice.
Keeping it clean.
And then Peck and Proton says, if Netflix buys AMC, wouldn't that eliminate them from Warner Brothers' bid due to antitrust? No, actually, it wouldn't anymore.
No, they got rid of that
Because
law.
this law was lifted. What was it, 5 years ago now? Somewhere in there.
Something close around that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a little while now, but it's not that old. But yeah, it used to be you could not own a theater and have a studio at the same time, or at least in some mass number, because they did that back in the, what was it, 40s or
It was in
when was
the
it?
mid to late. Yeah, it was post Second World War that
Yeah.
they did that, because Paramount at the time, I think, owned all the theaters in
Paramount and
Most of
MGM.
and MGM, and then they only showed their own movies. They wouldn't do distribution for other films, so they were kind of pricing. They were bottlenecking the market. So court ruled like studios cannot own X amount of private theaters.
Yep. And that is no longer the case.
Netflix
Ham,
should buy the Alamo Draft House and debut all their movies there first.
Well, and
It's
somebody
gonna end
asked
up
about.
closing up.
I was gonna say somebody asked about that model earlier, and I was like, well, the gimmick didn't really help bring people in per se. It was cool. It worked for what it was, but it's not like it wasn't like widescreen and stuff like that stuck around. Like they got to find something, not
Yeah.
3D.
They're closing several locations.
Yeah.
To your point, Script. I always liked the idea of a cinema tavern. I mean, really, the first time I ever went to one was to see heavy metal down in Biloxi, Mississippi, when I was in the Navy. I thought it was the coolest thing. That was back when you could even smoke in that theater.
I mean, they're a good idea, but they're not something that's going to take
No,
over
it's
the
not.
market,
No,
right?
most people aren't going to go for it, but I always thought they were cool ideas. But
No, you need
Netflix and chill, just come up with some cool way to do it, and maybe that would help.
Well, they're
people
leaning
out
into the
like Jim
premium
Cameron.
formats, right? Like they're leaning into the IMAX and the other kind of stuff. And I just don't feel like that's the gimmick that's going to get people back. It's like you already tried this 50 years ago, 60, 70 years ago.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not gonna work this time. Ham the Third says, remember, folks, VCS came out and primarily was for rental shops. They cost around $150 for a movie before they went to consumer model. This is true. I think he means VCRs, but yes.
Yeah. Remember when you would not turn in a movie and then the movie rental place would say you owe us $89 for that?
You have no idea how many times I had to deal with that shit. And the way a mother would freak out. And believe you me, she'd find that tape pretty goddamned quick. Because she'd turn that house upside fucking down to find it. It's like, I'll be damned if I'm paying $80 for Care Bears. What the fuck? Yeah, like. But yeah, no, you're wrong. Well, it's because the studios didn't want people to have VCRs.
Right.
They fucking hated it.
Yeah.
They did not want you to have control. They still don't want you to. In fact, we have gone this long basic circle around to exactly what they wanted. They wanted consumer control to where they controlled when you watch it. You basically have to pay for it every goddamn time. There's long-term leases. There's no ownership of anything, right? They hate this. They hate this.
I mean,
Because this means I can do anything I want with this anytime I want, watch it anytime. They can't stop me. They can't edit it. They can't alter it. They can't do anything.
Well, I mean, the irony is that you own the physical disc, but they still own the content on it. But
They do.
It's put in its stasis. It cannot change, which is a
Right.
very important aspect of it. And that's why they keep on re-releasing the movies with like better upscale scans, or at least they used to. They, not so much these days.
Cobra Kai is
Cobra Kai
getting a DVD release.
Finally getting on Blu-ray, but that's because I think it's Sony owns it and their contract deal. Can you read this, Andre? I got to take care of something quick.
Yeah, certainly. Glade Ribbon says for $5, pending California 3D printer legislation will outlaw Hollywood prop departments making fake boomsticks. Great way to delete entire industries. Now here there may be some California legislation that I'm not entirely sure about, but yeah, we can do some wild stuff with the 3D printing, I guess. When it comes to boomsticks, I think in America the real deal is far easier to get to. So
I think
yeah,
he means
yeah.
GUNs, just to be clear. But I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I hope so.
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Firearm.
Indeed. And then Ham the Third says for $10, thank you for the support. One way to get people back into theaters is to make the price for attendance compatible to the streaming and past costs, bringing it back to around $6 or $7 with the $34 upcharge for IMAX/3D. As for me, I actually liked Script's idea of like, yeah, make it a little bit more exclusive. I'm willing to pay more for it being more exclusive. But hey, that's me.
No, that's the opposite of what I want. I want the average Joe to be able to go in there with not a double-digit price tag on their on their wallet for a single ticket. I think
$5.
I mean, yeah, $5 would be great.
And
But the thing
then
is,
he
how do you make
clarifies,
that model
sorry,
work?
$3 or $4 upcharge.
Yeah.
Not
The thing is, like, how
$34.
do you make that model work for a multiplex theater? Like, I know how it works for a repertory theater where it's just one screen because they have a small staff. It's easy to manage. And
Yeah.
a lot of the repertory theaters I know in the Greater Toronto area, they're pretty much sold out every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Just nobody goes on from Sunday to
Well, a lot of them do the $5 plus tax on Tuesday. Cineplex, they do because, like you said, you know, it's usually very small attendance, and you don't need much staff to be there.
right.
I still think that theaters should have multiple ticket prices based on their budget.
Mm.
What's really interesting is when you watch the VOD movies that become available on, like, for instance, we're using Google Chrome or whatever, Google TV, and they have this one nice prominent sliding strip that shows you what are the latest movies available for payment, and movies that have been in the theater recently can still have a very cheap price based on the popularity of that theatrical release. So I can't remember the name of a movie, but you go, oh, that was a shitty movie. Oh, it's available for $4. Oh, this movie here, oh, is popular, $24. Like, it's a very democratic, very nicely done, almost buying seat sales for flying somewhere. You go, okay, that makes sense. The theatrical release didn't do particularly well, so they want to encourage people to VOD that particular movie, and it's available for $6.
Yeah, well, I feared that there's going to be different tiered price seating in movie theaters in the next 5 years, anyways. Where the
But
front
don't you
row-
think that
I was
makes
just going to
sense?
say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do things like Movie Pass and Stubs and
Regal Pass and all that,
Unlimited,
yeah.
are those just not? Did those models just not work? You could
No,
see
they're still around.
maybe
Even like a
not.
lot of the companies just made their own. Like AMC did their own, and all the other ones.
AMC is like Stubs, and it's 3
Yes.
movies a week. I
Yeah.
think you pay about $12 a
A little
month.
bit more realistic version of what.
It went up to 4.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay, 4
Yeah.
movies a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the thing, is if they're offering that kind of crap, you can tell they're struggling.
Yeah,
And the reasons are, and let's not be wrong. Look, yes, half of it is the content. I'm
Yeah.
not going to disagree
Sure.
with you. And a big part of that is
Yeah,
what
say more than
Paul
half.
said is like these kids nowadays are not going to movies. He's 100% right. Like my kid was part of that generation too. He hardly ever wanted to go to the theater. And half time I'd get him to go to the theater, halfway through the movie, he'd want to leave and go to the lobby and play video games. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it's like I took him to Star Wars The Force Awakens. Halfway through the movie, he's out in the fucking lobby playing a video game.
Wow.
Like, you guys are not wrong.
Mark
The other
it.
half, though, is their own fucking faults, right? Like we've said this a million times before. You have not innovated or updated anything outside of your soda dispensers. You know, I'm sick of going to theaters where, you know, I dread going to certain theaters because I know the presentation is going to be shit, because I know nobody's taken care of anything for the last 20 fucking years, if not more. And I'm not even being hyperbolic anymore, right? Like, you know, people wonder why I don't go to see a lot of movies. That's your answer, because the closest theaters I got are shit. And for me to drive to see anything, I got a plan, and I'm still spending out the nose because it's going to be an IMAX or a DLX or whatever. Although that may be worth it. It's like, is it really worth it for me to spend 4 or 5 hours out of my day to go do that? No, not really. Most of the time it's not. So unless it's something that I absolutely positively have to see because Andre wants me to see it, or because I really, really want to see it, I'd rather wait the 45-day window now. I hate to say it. I'm part of the fucking problem. I am part of the problem, and it's their fault, because it's shit. Why would I go to a theater where the screen is going to be less quality than the TV I have at my home, and I have Dolby Atmos right at my house, right? Like, why should I give a shit anymore about what they can offer me? There's nothing they can offer me that I can't do. I even have a 3D TV. So as long as they release a 3D version of it, I can still enjoy that if I want to. So that's the only thing that's become more harder to do or scarce, is to find a 3D version of anything anymore. But even those, shit, how many 3D movies even come out anymore? Andre, you saw Tron for the first time in a 3D movie. For
Yeah,
a while,
I
you said.
actually I saw two 3D movies last year, and that was Tron Ares and Avatar Fire and Ash. And those two times were the first time I've seen a 3D movie in many, many years. And both of them reminded me, I'm so done with 3D, I do not miss it. And I don't think that I would have liked Avatar Fire and Ash all that way anyway, because the way it was structured, that it's like an entire season of a TV series in one movie, but then it was 3D on top of that. My God, it's one of the worst experiences I've had. So
Well,
yeah,
we're due for another 3D quote unquote craze in about 2.5 years. So there's going to be a lot more movies that are doing 3D.
Jesus,
Why?
why?
Because it's what the theaters are pushing on the studios to do. Because they've been pushing 3D for 70 years and it's never took hold.
They do need some kind of innovation though, right? It's like somebody suggested something I saw on social media this week that I thought was actually kind of a fun idea. If like A24 or some of these horror movies would also show a horror shorts at the beginning of the movies, like they used to do animated shorts at the beginnings of movies, because there's a lot of great horror shorts out there. But there's so many little things that I know that have been talked about, like for theaters themselves to have like themed dining, you know, like have some sort of fear buffet type thing before a horror movie, or some Avatar Pandora dining experience, or even I know that the customers there'd probably be some backlash, but they could also explore using AI to do those dynamic pricing, kind of like they do with airline tickets. I don't know. I just feel like,
But again, you're all talking about stuff that only higher end customers are going to be able to
So
afford.
lower end. Here's the
Or
lower
lower.
end solution. Okay, I have it.
Thank you, Paul. Go ahead.
Uber Theater. People with good theater systems in their houses sell tickets to people to come into their house to watch a movie.
And this is how people get arrested for showing people boxing matches on
and that's going to
pay-per-view,
save
Paul.
AMC. Is that what
Yes.
you're saying?
So the idea is that people who sign up for Uber Theater get the first run show, get the first run movie, and they sell tickets and bring people into their home.
So it's like reverse Netflix.
Well, see, it's all about reducing friction, right?
I don't know if Paul remembers Netflix or not.
Yeah, Netflix. Yeah.
Could you imagine if like Clue came out today, you know, that had 3 endings?
Three
if
endings,
you
yeah.
could use your phone now with one of those AR experiences and scan QR codes to.
That might be a possibility, but there was already some regulation put in that you couldn't put out multiple versions of movies. I can't remember what caused that, but like there was some deal. I can't remember when it was. I think it was during like Showgirls or some shit like that, because they wanted to release 2 different versions, but they wouldn't let them or something like that, and because they're like, it would be too confusing to have an R-rated and an NC-17 version on the market.
PG-rated stuff, all like even Spielberg.
But it's always after the original version's been released and out of theaters. See, like that's the thing.
Got it.
And back in the day, they do it for video, but like I don't know. I'd have to look it up again, but that's a strong possibility. But again, you're looking at like gimmicky stuff. I'm talking about something that can be conformed to most theaters, that is affordable, that everybody can do, basically like widescreen and surround sound, right? Those were the 2 things that stuck around as far as gimmicks go, that stuck around. They're like, okay, we can still do this in an affordable theater. But now we're gotten to a point where that's stale, right? Like that's old hat. And, you know, Paul, you're not wrong. Like that's the problem though, right? Like I just said, taking back the initial point, my system in my home is better than my theater system because I, you know, update it every 10 years as opposed to they do. They don't, right? Like they're still 20, 30 years behind unless I go to an IMAX or something like that. And even then, it's a chintzier IMAX compared to like some of the bigger cities and stuff like that. So like that's the thing is, if you're anybody who lives in any kind of rural area, so basically 80% of the country, right? Unless you live near a big city like Chicago or LA, your choices for theaters are pretty slim. and your options. And again, that's where I see most people going, you know what? I'd rather not deal with the sticky floors. I'd rather not deal with the dimly lit fucking screen. I'd rather not deal with the soundtrack being all fucked up. That was the one thing I bitched about Kill Bill. The left channel was out through the whole fucking movie, and I told them that.
Oh no. And that was for the re-release, right?
Yeah. I'm like, by the way, there's no sound coming out of the left channel. And I went and told them twice, and they still didn't do anything about it.
Jeez.
4-hour movie I had to sit there and watch like that. Oh, yeah.
Was it playing on both sides, just a mono track, or
No, what it was is I could tell that there was the left channel just wasn't firing.
oh
Right. So like there was sound effects and stuff that weren't coming out of that. Like all the sound was coming clearly from this angle. And I've seen the movie enough fucking times that I know when shit's like, doing, especially during the Crazy 88 scene. Like I know when there's stuff that's, I should have asked, but at that point I was like, fuck it. I don't care.
Okay.
But like, that's the thing. And that's almost as bad as a theater I went to where they had the left and the right reversed. Let me tell you, there's nothing, especially if you have like vertigo or something like that. I watched Spider-Man 2 like that. So every time something was going left to right, it was sounding like it was going right to left. And it was like, so it was like this constant, like fucking weird thing going on in my head. It was just weird.
I remember when we saw Batman 89 in the theater, the tape broke and they had to turn up the lights because I think they were running the film from one theater into the next theater,
Haha, you said 69.
No, I
So
said
they could show it in
89.
2 theaters at once.
I said 89, didn't I?
But anyhow, let's keep moving here. We got Drew Tipton who says, I'll watch the Titanic musical if they sing on the friggin' wooden door, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Oh, they'll definitely have a number on that. How could they
Of
not?
course they will. Apparently the Supreme Court doesn't like America. Hopefully Trump just ignores them and continues tariffs.
Uh-oh. Bad news for tariffs today, I guess.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, I saw some headlines about this, but I don't know any details. Based on the super chat, it would appear that the Supreme Court has placed some level of restrictions on tariffs at the very least, but really would have to do research into that before commenting, because that's a complex thing right away.
Well, it just happened 30 minutes ago, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was looking at in the background, just seeing all the notifications popping up here in the background.
Yeah.
And then Marksman of 117B wonders, Paul, did you see Iron Lung?
It's a horror flick. I don't go see horror flicks.
Well, it's not technically horror, but it's going to you, it's going to play that way.
Yeah, I get too involved. I completely lose myself in movies.
Yeah, this is not going to be the movie for you then.
I'm the opposite of many people who love watching blood and guts horror movies and then can't sleep at night. Whereas I can kind of watch them and I have no problem sleeping. But that's not my favorite genre.
Yeah,
I would love to watch it just from a technical perspective to see what Markiplier has done. I'm a fan of his. I've been watching his game playing videos for a good long time, at least 10 years.
Wow. I think that you would find it intellectually interesting because what I saw that it was, I saw it and it's not for me. I feel that it's the movie is not. I'm not the target audience of it, but I see the appeal because the message there, like the movie, the messaging for the movie, it's for a generation of young men that have grown up where everything is kind of like just set up, so they will fail. They are blamed for things they had nothing to do with, and they're set up to fail. And there's nothing they can do to get out of the situation. It kind of like captures that feeling. That's the appeal of the movie. So it's very interesting from that point of view. I think that's why it speaks to so many people.
Sounds very depressing.
Oh, it is depressing.
Okay.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who's seen it that has not heard of Markiplier first, who wasn't like a film critic yet. So,
honestly, I have never in my life heard of Markiplier. That's why I'm impressed with because obviously he has so many millions and millions of followers that obviously is popular. But that's the thing with the algorithm stuff, like it feeds you the kind of stuff that you want. I don't watch other people playing games. So because of that, probably
yeah, but to be fair, Andre,
has never popped up in my feed ever.
The only reason you went to see it though was because people were talking about it. Like,
Correct.
that's kind of what. Now, here's the thing with the reason why I think the movie's doing so well.
Well,
This is why I
yes
don't
and
know
no.
if any. And this is why I don't know if any YouTuber could just go out there and make a movie, even if they have 1 million or 2 million subscribers. Because I think this movie was fortunate that it also had the horror element going for it, and a horror audience will go check out a movie like this.
To be fair, that's what
Yeah.
sold me, because I wouldn't have gone just because it was like a thing to see. I just like, oh, it's here, and I was like, what's it about? Oh, the stars just blacked out. Okay, cool concept, high concept. I'm there. I was sold on the high concept. Markiplier and stuff, I had to learn what it was about afterwards. I didn't even know it was based on a video game until after the fact. So I'm
No.
someone that went in relatively blank. I had no idea what I was going into. I just saw like that one sentence pitch, stars going out. Okay, cool. Interesting. Let's see what this is about.
Well,
But
I don't
still,
know.
that's what I could see. That's the appeal of the movie. That's the central theme.
And I don't know if this is right or not mathematically, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because I mean, even at any given time, it's hard to say how many of your subscribers are actually active on YouTube. But like that being said, look, I'm not saying it can't happen and it's not a good model and it's not a possible future, because I've been saying it for a while. It's going to happen because I've seen it happen with the comic books and other things like that. It's just we need somebody to do like a drama, right? Like that's the thing. We need people to come in and say, okay, this is a good movie and it wasn't made by Hollywood. Right, like that's the
But,
main thing that's.
I mean,
matter.
the gimmick to all that is the only reason that Iron Lung is any success is that he had 33 million YouTube subscribers. Like again, like it's all about the marketing. He had such a huge reach
Right.
that people actually knew about that. No one, like no random person on YouTube with like 100 subscribers who's able to release a movie is going to get the same box office return unless you have an amazing marketing department behind them. It all comes down to awareness, and YouTube has a great model for that. If you can get I mean, that's what Markiplier proved. If you can get over 30 million subscribers, you can make a movie and make a few million bucks in doing so. That's it. I mean, it's not the easiest thing to achieve, but that is literally what the metric is telling us, which means that you're not really changing the industry yet. You still have to build that audience prior in order to get people in there. You can't just do a cold aspect anymore without a really competent marketing department behind you.
You're not wrong. It's no different than when they used to grab like Vanilla Ice and throw them into a movie.
Yeah.
Really. It's the
Again,
equivalent at the end of the day.
Find people that puts butts in seats and that'll work. But we don't have many people that put butts in seats these days. And
Well, that's
again, if you
true.
wanted to do a wholly new original film and put it into theaters, the only way people are going to know about it is if they are heavily advertised that it exists. And guess what? That's a hard thing to do. But if you've already done the work over 10 years, it's a lot easier to do. And Markiplier proved that. So for all the independent filmmakers out there, are you interested and willing to put in 10 years in building your audience so that you can make a movie, for 3 million that makes, 25
Well,
million?
he kind of
And that's the
benefited.
question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. He kind of benefited from the same kind of hype that, not hype, but free advertising that Sound of Freedom got as well, right? Because it's not like the Angel Studios had the money to put out there and pump advertising for it, but the reason people were talking about it, so it was in the press constantly, even if it was negative press, regardless of what it was, the people were talking about it. It's kind of the same thing here, because we didn't even start talking about it until it got out there that they pulled it from the top 10 in the box office, Mojo and other places. Like, why is it not on there when it made more money than all these other movies? And that was kind of the reason people started talking about it. So it was kind of a Barbra Streisand effect, right? I think that's kind of what happened there, because that's pretty much the reason why Andre saw it.
Well, I mean,
at the end of the day,
yeah, but that was after the fact that it already made money based on the core audience that Markiplier
it had done well, but now at this
Yes.
point, now it's made $40 million, right? Like that's the big difference now. It's made almost double what it had made at that point, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it would have made $40 million if it had not gotten much coverage. That was my point. But Marksman 11-7B says Iron Lung is too weak to be a horror. It's more suspense. No, but my point is it falls in that category that I could see the horror audience giving it a shot without having any clue whatsoever who Markiplier is.
Yeah.
They just see this movie that looks interesting. I'll check it out. You're talking about the group of people that will rent or watch something off of a single picture. That's my point, right? And I'm one of those people, right? So, I was suckered in by how many movies at the video store where I thought they were going to be one thing and they were completely something else. So, yeah. But anyhow, Ham the Third says, question for you. What K is a regular theater? IMAX, 16K, 32K, or 64K higher? I hate to break it to you. In most cases, it's just above 2K.
Yeah.
In most cases, because the theaters, they got these projectors back when 1080p was the standard. And most of the files that go out to these theaters are just under 4K or just over 2K. It's however you want to look at it.
For instance, when you look at the Marvel movies, and I'm talking recent Marvel movies from like the 2010s, you know, the 4K discs of those, they're upscales because the master is in 2K, the theatrical master. So when you watch that in 4K, you are actually watching something that is upscaled in higher resolution that we're seeing in theaters. And to me, that is why, for instance, 8K TVs are a fucking scam. And I'm glad that they're on the way out. It should never, ever have been attempted. It's completely ridiculous. The human eye is not capable of seeing the difference. And even in theaters, I mean, the absolute best film can do, which isn't 4K, but if you were to translate it, even that is not going to go beyond 4K.
So I don't know about that. I'm not going to argue that point, but yeah.
Yeah, but the 16K, 32K, 64, no, there's no such thing.
Because right now, Warner Brothers is scanning most of their films in an 8 to... Oh, sorry, Chris had to leave. I didn't know he had to leave that soon. But they're actually scanning the films at anywhere from 8 to 16K now. But that's just because they're trying to future-proof this shit, too.
Yeah.
Right. But that's not so much for the viewing pleasure as there's going to be technologies in the future that might be able to do things that we have not even dreamed of yet, that we might need them at a higher resolution for. And or doing things like that Wizard of Oz thing. That's part of the reason why Wizard of Oz was scanned at 16K. So they could do that fucking sphere thing. But yeah, no, most movies anymore, when you go see them in a theater, they're not even 4K technically.
Yeah. So yeah, when you see it, so not only is your home theater better, technically, if you have a 4K TV, you're actually watching higher resolution on a smaller screen than you're watching in a theater. The benefit, though, is that in the theater, what they typically do is that they smudge the picture very, very subtly, so that you can't tell the unclarity. But again, that also undermines the point of higher case, because then you just bring it down to like 1080p.
Well, here's a perfect example. I'll keep this really quick and brief because I know we got to go. Kill Bill has yet to be rescanned since back when it first came out because it was done in a digital master. I wasn't sure if they did or not for the new version because the theater I went to is just plain 1080p. I couldn't tell if it had been rescanned or up anything or just up converted. I get it now that it's on the digital. It's up converted. They did not rescan the movie at all. So it still looks as shitty as it did back. I don't understand why Tarantino hasn't just allowed them to rescan it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It looks like shit. It looks like a muddy mess. And I guess if you're going to a theater, it hides that. There you go.
Yeah,
but
that's exactly right. You can smudge the picture and it hides that.
Basically, that's where we're at now. I couldn't tell. That's how bad it was in the theater I was going to see it in. 1080p. I know I just invented something there. But anyhow, let's get the fuck out of here. Chris, check his stuff out at Bleeding Fool. He's always busy out over there throwing out stories for you guys to check out. Script Doctor, you have a show on Saturdays.
Yes, I do. Come by my show this Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, where we'll be reviewing a screenplay that's been circulating around. Yeah, we'll let you know if it's well written or terrible. And
Indeed. And when are you going to read my script I sent you about the reunion of WKRP? I think we need to bring it back.
I've lost in the email. You have to resend it to me.
I don't know. I'm just joking.
You need to do your Saturday morning show with one of the scripts that we wrote and just give it a rave.
Yeah, I could do that.
There you go. And then we got a $5 Rumble rant from Garvin Ambrose. It says, Tommy, Tama. Hi, runs away giggling. Well, thank you for that, Garvin. I appreciate the support over there. Paulie, what you got going on? You got a show later today or no?
Fletcher does. Fletcher will be live at 4 p.m. on the Latino Slant YouTube channel. It's called Fletcher's Fiesta. He does on Fridays, where he invites his buddies and they geek out, man. Yeah, they have a good time. So catch them, and then we always got new reviews on our free website. No firewall. You don't have to pay shit. All our reviews are free, and you can read the whole articles and all that stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And then we have Call Me Chato, who also has appalling news. What else you got coming up? Any TV guide videos in my future?
Not immediately, but today should drop my Green Light or Not Babylon 5 pilot episode.
Ooh.
Interesting.
So
That should be a pretty popular one.
That's the show that I've wanted to really dive into deeply and see, whether it passes muster. And there's some interesting insights too, in terms of executive competitive requirements and things like that. Because DS9 came out several weeks before the pilot. Anyway, so how does a network executive look at the challenge of having two shows in exactly the same space in a category that isn't that hugely popular? So I talk about that.
There you go. That should be pretty popular. There you go.
Hopefully.
Yeah. But when are you going to get to a real show like Cop Rock?
Yeah.
No, I hated Cop Rock. I'm not doing
Nobody liked Cop Rock.
Can you do a green light on the pilot of Dawson's Creek from 1998?
Oh, there you go.
Good.
That would be pretty popular.
I'll add
right
it to
now.
my list.
I just geeked out and watched the entire season.
And how is it?
I fucking love it.
Okay.
Oh, you better if you watch the entire season.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I would not normally do that. But I'll take a look.
What was really funny is like, wow, these are all really great actors now doing their thing. Joshua Jackson, Katie Holmes, Michelle Williams, and it did spurn. What spurned it was the unfortunate passing of James Van Der Beek, and so I'm watching. I love it to death. And then there's all these actors who are also doing guest spots and are like huge. And so it's like, wow.
I've never seen the show.
I've never seen it back in the day.
So yeah, that's a good idea. I like that idea.
Yeah. There you go.
And then Captain. Go ahead, Paulie.
No.
Oh no, I hit my. Sorry.
Take the
Captain
hint.
JPS47 says, I always miss these streams, but I'm here for the koalas.
Hint.
Well, Andre.
Well, you made it just in time. So everyone, thanks for joining today. Check back over the course of the weekend. Hopefully we have something very cool to announce for you guys, depending on how things play out here. There'll be membership streams very shortly after that. But for now, it's time for the koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given, koala, koala. Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given, koala, koala. Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given, koala.